If you love nail decals but don't want to use gels, here's how you're going to do it. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer, and today we are skipping the gels again and using all dip liquids to show you how you can do some really fun nail art that is just a decal. And then we're going to add some striping tape to show you if you mess up your decal, here's what you can do. So first we're going to start off with our dip powder as our base of our mani, which you know, if you watch my channel, you know I am a dip powder addict. I love doing dip nails. Whenever I'm dipping a solid color, I like to pour my powders over. I have found that the application is so much more even when you're pouring your powders over, and you want to start off by applying your dip base really thin. No matter what you're doing with any kind of dip powder, whether you're using dip liquids or gel liquids, you want to apply your base thinly. That's going to keep your nails from getting too thick. The two colors that I'm using, the orange is We're Friends Till the End, and then the purple is going to be Hunting for Vampires on a School Night. They are both from OG Dip Powder. And I feel like I don't use solid dip powders enough. I feel like I so often go for shimmers, flakes, and foils and glitters. So I'm trying to add some more solid dip powders back into my manis. I just have a glitter and shimmer obsession. So I tend to grab those first before I even touch the solid. You can see when after I pour my dip powder over, I tap my hand pretty strongly, like I tilt my finger to the side and then give it a couple good taps. That's going to get the excess powder off before you even go to brush it off with your little nail art brush or your stiff nail brush. I like to use stiff nail brushes to brush off the excess powder. I know some people like using a fluffy brush, but for me, that just makes the layers way too thick. It leaves too much powder on. If you start to brush off and you get some gumminess, like when you're brushing off, and it starts to feel like tacky and gummy, you know that you are brushing your dip powder off too soon. Then maybe your dip liquids are a slower drying and you're just not waiting long enough to brush in between. These OG dip powder liquids that I'm using are a medium dry, so by the time I finish all my nails, like I can go back to the first one I was doing. So you see I'm doing 3 nails in orange, and I was able to go right back to the first one after I finished the third one and then start brushing off. So I'll like leave the dip powder on until I know that it's dry, and I don't brush off until that I'm sure it's dry. And you can tell the dip powder is dry because it's not going to leave like this any kind of glossy look on your nail. It's going to be soaked up into the dip base that you're using. This purple, like I've been feeling the darker colors, purples, blues. I have more blue manis coming up, and I have a bunch more blue planned. Now you're going to see me make a huge mess here in a second. If you watch my videos, you know I am a pretty messy dipper. And even though I don't knock over my dip powder as often because now that I'm using these dip cups, I still drop my jars. So I didn't even bother to clean it up. I figured, you know what? Everybody can see this is how I dip. Like I left a mess and it's just sitting on the side there. Part of why I like to wear gloves is I am a messy dipper. So even though these are technically UV LED gloves, I use them for when I'm dipping so that I don't have any powder sitting on my hands. And then if I spill and I set my hand down, I'm not setting my entire hand in powder. If you leave dip powder on your skin too much, it can get itchy. You can get contact dermatitis. So I'm really careful about not getting powder on my skin, not leaving it on my skin, and not like setting my hand in it. Those are just some extra little tips and tricks that you can do to, you know, protect your skin. Totally your choice. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I know a lot of people do not wear gloves when they dip their nails. They only use them when they're using gels or, you know, using gels with dip. But I personally choose to protect my skin at all costs because I'm going to keep doing my dip manis as long as I possibly can without my skin being irritated ever. Since I used all solid colors, I only have to bust out my clear one time. Typically when I use solids, like a combination of solids, shimmers, flakes, foils, whatever, I do all my solids and shimmers. I go through and apply the clear so that I don't accidentally contaminate my solids or shimmers with any of the glitter, flakes, or foils. But since these were all solids, I could just do the last layer of clear dip powder at the end. So I did the 3 orange nails first, just because I knew that the purple might stain the brush a little bit. So I want to make sure that I didn't get any of the purple stain on my orange nails. And after each time that I applied my dip base onto my nails, I made sure I didn't show it in this video. It's off camera I was doing it. I brushed the dip brush off on a lint-free paper towel so that I didn't get any of the dark color contaminated into my brush. And I do the same thing when I'm activating my nails. If I know I'm using a color that's really pigmented, like both the purple and the orange are really pigmented colors, the orange just because it's so bright and the purple because it's so dark, You can see me wiping off my nails, wiping off the activator brush on a lint-free wipe every single time to make sure that I don't have anything stuck, any kind of color stuck on the activator brush that would then transfer to my next mani or another color. I felt like with this mani, I did a pretty good application, so I didn't need much buffing, shaping, or filing. I did that off camera, and then I sprayed my nails with isopropyl alcohol and wiped them off with a lint-free wipe. That cleans off any dust or any leftover, pretty much anything that's on your nails so that it doesn't transfer when you're doing top coat or when you're doing your nail art. Now I get to bust out these adorable little decals. The one that I chose is from Coco Decals, and it's called Giddy Pumpkins, or these neon ones. So when I saw these decals, I got them off the site knowing that I knew I wanted to do some like neon manis. It really turned out so great with these colors. Now, this is how you're going to apply decals if you do not want to use gels. Typically I use gels, but I've really been trying to, in a lot of my videos, show options to do nail art or anything that you're doing stamping, decals now without using gels. So I apply a layer of Maniology sticky base, and then I soak my decal in the water because it's a water decal. So I want to make sure that it completely can slip off the backing of the paper before I go and apply it to my nails. Then I like to use a jelly stamper to really push it down onto my nails. And now I'm going around the outside of my cuticle area, and you can use acetone to melt the decals. Now I can't use acetone anymore and I'm allergic to it. So I use this non-acetone nail polish remover that I found off Amazon, and it works pretty well to melt the sides of the decals. Not as fast as acetone, but it still works, and then I'm not getting like red itchy bumps from acetone. So when I applied my decal, this is like a common theme for me when I'm applying decals or stamps, that I can't put something on straight. I don't know why, but like for some reason my eyes see it as straight, and then when I actually like look at my hand, it's pretty crooked. So I knew I had these cute little striping tape stickers, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can take 2 of them and just put them along the side of the decal, and then no one will know that my decal was applied crooked. It worked out so great. So if you're doing a half decal and you don't end up applying it straight on your nail, you can just take some little nail stickers and cover up the sides so then nobody knows that you did not apply your decal straight. Then I like to go through and I put Maniology sticky base. Again, once the decal is totally dry on my nail, I put sticky base over the entire thing and I cap my edges. Then I take the Maniology smudge-free top coat and apply that, capping the edges again. This just helps to seal in the decal. I noticed that when you're using these like nail polishes, because that's what they are, they don't seal in quite as well as when you're using gels. So I make sure that I cap the edges really well, and I file the edge a little bit before I go and I put any top coat on. I file the edge since my nails are straight. Now, when my nails are almond shaped, it's definitely a lot harder to do this. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, Nicole, I am so not ready for decals, I'm still struggling with my dip powder application, make sure you check out the first pinned comment. I have my Dip Nails 101. It is the ultimate guide to dipping your nails at home from prep to application to removal. It is over 45 pages of literally everything that I wish I had as a beginner and everything you need to know so that you don't have to struggle. Jumping back in to finish our mani, I topped my decal nail with Seche Vide Fast Dry top coat and made sure I capped the edges. And then I went through with my dip top coating, and when I do my dip top coating, I pretend like I'm doing my middle finger or whatever finger that I have a decal or stamping on that I use nail polish atop. I just pretend like I'm actually going through and doing it so that my top coat timing is correct. I'm a huge fan of dip top coat, so being able to still use it while using the nail polish top coats on my decal or stamps is just something that I really ended up loving, and I've tried it with a couple different brands, and as long as you do the timing, it's going to work. Now, if you're still struggling with applying decals or you want to try using gels, make sure you check out this next video. Thanks so much for joining me today, Nail Crew.